Hey, and welcome to Women, Words and Wine. This is the start of season 2, and I'm very excited to be back with more episodes of our show. Amazing, amazing guests. Kicking off tonight with one of the guests that we had in season 1, and she's a fave of mine, just as a human being. And so I'll be bringing her on in just a moment. We loved your feedback from the last series of interviews. And for those of you who are brand new, here's what I need you to know. It's a little bit of practical business stuff. It's a little bit of total silliness. It's a little bit of wine because it's Women, Words and Wine. And it is also just an opportunity to sit back, relax, enjoy yourself, participate in the conversations. We want to hear your comments. We want to hear your input. We want your questions. And when we started this show, which was probably end of March, beginning of April, things were just starting to lock down with COVID. And I felt like we all needed a little bit of a light relief. And that was kind of the reason that we started the show. But the seed of the show was sitting in the back of my mind for a few years. And tonight's guest is someone who I had shared this idea with. And she said, well, when you do it, I'm going to be there. And so I want to bring back the very gorgeous, wonderful Kat Matson. Kat, hello.
Hey, Suzi. It's so good to be back.
It's good to have you here. Tell me, for the wonderful people at home, firstly, before you tell us exactly who you are you drinking something?
I am, but it is only soda water this evening, I'm afraid.
It is? Oh.
It is. I've just been getting healthy again after a few days of illness. And so I was just like, and I've got a big day tomorrow. So I was just like, I have to be on my game.
Good idea. We'll pretend it's wine anyway.
We will pretend it's wine.
Liz says, love that you're back with Women, Words and Wine, 3 of my favorite things. Hello, beautiful Liz Van Vliet. Wonderful to have you back, Liz, watching again. And, so good to have you here. If you've just joined us, this is Women, Words and Wine. I'm Suzi Dafnis. This is Kat Matson. Kat, tell the people at home a little bit about you.
It's always such a funny question, isn't it? It's like I like long walks on the beach. I like sunsets. Tonight, I think the things that I want to say is that I'm very excited about the founder and creator and lead facilitator of Impactful Presenters, which is an online program teaching change makers, entrepreneurs and professionals how to speak with confidence and present with even more impact. Because, it's really apparent right now that I'm not shy, and I probably haven't ever really been shy, but I've really finessed my ability to present and to speak and to facilitate over the last few years, and I want to share that because it's a really powerful tool.
Well, I have a little story that I want to share about that. So Kat and I, for many years, went to a conference called South by Southwest in Austin, Texas. It happens around March. I was meant to go this year. And what we would do while we were there is, as well as taking in all the amazing sessions and incredible speakers like inventors, head CEOs, marketers, we would create some content. And so we would do some interviews. And I have interviewed people forever. But when it comes to just standing in front of a camera with a microphone, with no notes or anything, I would always be pushing Kat to the front. It's like, Kat, you do the interview. And of course you would. You would just speak from the heart, clearly, really great questions. And I love that you're now sort of packaging that in a way that you can share it with other business owners.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny actually. I was remembering some of those South by videos today, and that ability to interview and to make magic with panelists is one of the things that I really I realize that people don't know how to do it instinctively.
Yeah,
but it can, and I feel like I do know how to do it instinctively, but it's actually only because I've been doing it for so long. So I'm just breaking it all down and making it teachable.
Right, because knowing something instinctively is very different to teaching it. And when you deconstruct it in that way, I think you learn so much as well. Now, I know you've got something else that you want to tell us about, but I do want to acknowledge some of the women who are here and commenting.
Please.
Aparna says, hi, Suzi. It's good to be back. We in Melbourne are still in lockdown, and so this event is very exciting. I was just saying to Kat, when we were looking at season 2, everything seemed to be getting better as far as COVID. And then Victoria, my heart goes out to you. So I'm so glad that we can be here for you, Aparna. Helen says, hello, so great that WWW is back. And Liz says she remembers those videos from South by, and they were great. Yeah, we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun. Now you have got another fabulous new thing on the horizon. You want to give us a quick update on that?
I do. Apparently what COVID did for me was unleash all of my creative juices and my desire for something new. So after nearly 6 years, I finished up as Brisbane's Chief Digital Officer about 3 weeks ago, as I accepted a role with Ipswich City Council to be their Manager of Economic and Community Development. So it's still very much in the public service, which is something that I have discovered that I truly love. And it's in a regional city by Brisbane standards that is very well poised for some extraordinary economic growth over the next few years. So I'm ridiculously excited to be starting with them in a couple of weeks.
Well, congratulations. Can't wait to see you make your magic there. Michelle Pasko, hello. Hi, Suzi. So glad to join you all. Thank you. And Grace says, hi, Suzi. Hi, Kat. This is my first time joining. Well, welcome, welcome. Grace is one of our newer Her Business Network members. Welcome, welcome. So here's how this works, just to give everyone, especially if you're a first timer. So generally there's a number of parts to the show. It's all done and dusted in an hour, but we managed to fit quite a lot in. I've usually got one guest. Sometimes I've got multiple guests, and we bring to you some things that we've seen in the media, in our Facebook feeds, that have made us laugh or stop in our tracks or be infuriated, one of those things, but usually it's something light. We also do some practical business strategies. So my experts bring their expertise. Each one of them is either a woman with a flourishing career or an entrepreneur or both. And so we bring you some practical tips. And then we also take your questions and comments. So we do encourage you to join in. Hey, Narelle. That's a really interesting spelling of Narelle. I haven't seen that before. I hope I'm saying it right. It's also my first time joining. Cheers, and cheers to you. So if you've just joined us, tell us what you are drinking. I am having a Pinot Noir called, and I don't know if I could ever be described as this, innocent bystander.
Why would you want to be described
Guilty.
as that? Why would you want to be described as an innocent bystander?
It's a Yarra Valley Pinot Noir. Characters of dark cherries and spice. I don't know about you guys, but anytime I've been to a wine tasting, they tell me it's got hint of this and hint of that. I'm like, I don't get it, but I like the wine. Hey, Debbie. First time too. Well, welcome, welcome. Is anybody having a glass of wine? If you're having a glass of wine, tell us. Just tell me whatever you're drinking. I don't mind if it's a cup of tea. It's winter. PJ the other night made himself a beautiful hot chocolate. I was looking at it going, I want some too. But, it's not something I would drink every night because it's hot chocolate. And it would just be dangerous for my waistline to be drinking that every night. It looked really good.
I've been making mulled wine.
My gosh, delicious.
So good. And I was in the northern New South Wales hinterland on the weekend, and it was freezing cold, and it was an outdoor bath, and so just ran the bath, made the mulled wine, and just took it out. It was spectacular.
Oh, wow, that sounds great. Oh, we do have a couple of people having a drink here. So Narelle's having Heartland Spice Traders Shiraz, and Laura is having one of my favorites, Nebbiolo. Have you ever had a Nebbiolo?
I love
my gosh, love it. Yep. Anastasia, I saw your name somewhere the other day. I don't think we've met. You said, hi, Suzi, my first time joining from Melbourne. All's good, even under lockdown. I think maybe you joined our free group. And I thought, look at that name. That has a favorite Puka tea. Feel your wine sounds so much nicer. Oh, I love Puka tea.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, Cheryl says, not a glass. I had the bottle. Straw. Welcome to the show, Cheryl. Liz saying, I'm eating a dinner made by my daughter. Oh, lucky you. Creamy chicken pesto pasta and a New Zealand Sauv Blanc. Hey, good stuff. Michelle's having a cup of tea. Early start tomorrow, though. Yeah, and just coffee for me, says Debbie. I'm actually off to have some allergy tests tomorrow. They didn't say you couldn't drink the night before, but, I don't know if it helps or not. But I mean,
I once went for a naturopathic test, and I'd forgotten their instructions beforehand, and I rocked up straight from a networking lunch. And as he sits down, he says, so have you eaten sugar? have you eaten dairy and have you had wine in the last 24 hours? And I said, how's in the last
All of
hour?
that. Maria says she feels like a cup of soup and tea. Okay. And Nikki's having a New Zealand, the Poet Sauv Blanc.
Oh, that's a beautiful bottle of Sauv Blanc.
Yes, lovely, lovely.
Mm.
Well, welcome. Whatever you're drinking, thank you so much for being here. So one of the things that, as I said, we like to do is share with you some of the things we've seen. And if ever you see something that you think is funny that would be great for the show, send it in. Just post it. Just post it in a comment here in Facebook, and we'll share it and give you some love. So this first one here is from you, Kat. So tell us about this one.
Well, look, I don't do craft at all. But I really, really liked this description of Corona as in craft terms. If you and 9 friends are crafting and only one's using glitter, how many projects actually have glitter? And, I've had the occasion to open up a greeting card or open up a present that's got glitter in it.
Yes, thanks, mate.
Yeah. So I just, it's awful. And I mean, and that particular meme was going around before Victoria went back into lockdown. So we were probably feeling a bit more like we could laugh about it, but it spreads. That's why we're in lockdown.
So we're in lockdown. Yeah. This is one of mine. So I am supposed to be in Greece right now, in the middle of a 10-week trip away that was going to include New York and Greece. And instead, this is where I've been this year. Yep. I thought it was very, very funny, but not funny. So I want to ask you, and I want to ask those watching, are any of you planning a vacation within Australia? Anyone planning a vacation within Australia because you can't go anywhere else? Not that there's anything wrong with vacationing in Australia, but how many of you have had to change your plans and vacation in Australia? We're going away just for the weekend, in a couple of weekends, for 5 days actually, just down south. We just, one of those stays homes, renting a home. We have a perfectly good home in Sydney, so it feels a bit silly, but just to be by the ocean, because I live in the inner city, as you know, will be really nice. So
it will be nice, and it's a different perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other one I've got here, this one is from the lovely Louise Lucas, who is one of our members. She posted this, and this is a recipe for gin pancake. There's eggs, flour, milk, and gin. And the method is throw the eggs, flour, and milk in the bin and drink the gin. Boom, boom. Yep. Very funny.
And this, me too. That's exactly how I make my gin pancakes.
This one I came across this morning. I don't know if there's any Lunig fans in the room. I love this man. So it's I don't know how big your screen is, but I will give you a link to this because it's just really beautiful. He he began working as a political cartoonist for a daily paper in Melbourne in 1969. I think he was born in 45, and he really came into his own when 9/11 happened, and he was doing cartoons that were really against what was happening in Afghanistan, and he got very, very political, and this made him very, very famous. And he continues to do work for the Melbourne Age and the Sydney Morning Herald. And I always find his work a little beautiful and always a little sad. Like that little character always looks a little full on, but I find the words very, very beautiful. Yeah.
I particularly like the sentiment in that one because as awful as COVID is, it's really an amplification of normal. Like nothing's ever predictable. So I really like the sentiment in that one to just help us get present to reality.
Yeah. So I will put a link to that in the notes in just a second. I do want to acknowledge some people here. Michelle says, going to Eden. I was supposed to be in Hawaii today.
Eden's almost
and Felicity in Brim says, I'm planning to come to Sydney and country New South Wales, but at the moment our borders are still closed. I went up the peninsula for a weekend of fishing, crabbing. Oh, gosh, that sounds great. That sounds really good. And it sounds like your weather must be really good too. And Laura says, yeah, Lunig always nails it. And Anastasia says she had to cancel the Greek holiday for a wedding and the one to sunny Queensland, hopefully next year. Yeah, I feel you. And Helen says she's heading off on the 22nd for a couple of weeks, heading to Mission Beach, North Queensland, then to Longreach and Carnarvon. I don't know how to pronounce that. Carnarvon George?
Carnarvon
Gorge.
Carnarvon George.
A maiden voyage in our caravan. Wow, that sounds like fun. I hope you post. Helen's one of our members as well. Laura says, I'm heavily immune suppressed and not allowed to go anywhere. The trip to IKEA sounds exotic to me. Oh, I'm so sorry. But you got to take care of you, right? You got to take care of you. Thank you all so much for being here. Now, as I said, we've got some practical tips always. And so I wanted to invite you, Kat, to kick us off. What are some of the things on your mind that you wanted to share with those here tonight?
In terms of practical tips, I really the last few, the focus that this month that you have put on marketing in the Her Business Network has been profound, actually. And I mean, and particularly, you made a comment in one of your lives last week where you said it's really important that you actually do the things, not just plan the things. You've actually got to do the things. I mean, there'll be some watching who remember, I've been in and out of my own businesses for 20 odd years, been employed for the last 6 years, but now doing my side hustle. I used to be a business coach. I talk about this kind of stuff, but just that little nugget of, you can't actually just keep thinking about this stuff. You actually have to do it. So the focus on doing the marketing things has been really big for me this month. And I mean, it's only 15 days into the month. But also then the 31 days of Facebook Lives, that challenge that you issued at the end of June. And I think I actually said, that would be interesting. And then all of a sudden I'm in there doing it. That's been an amazing discipline for me. So I guess my tips are discipline and focus. Having the challenge of 31 days of Facebook Live has forced me to get very present to putting up content every day, putting up live content every day, and therefore making it interesting and engaging. Like you are literally on show every day. You can't edit out a social media post. You can't post a pretty picture of a flower. It's you. So the discipline of that has also then created a focus that it's been a really nice reminder, actually, of just not what we're in business for, but you can't reap the rewards if you're not willing to put the effort in.
Right. And that consistent effort, like daily is a lot, right?
Daily is a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot. Because I've been doing sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, particularly when what I'm finding is a live is only 5 to 10 minutes. And my lives have only been 5 to 10 minutes. But it takes 20 minutes to set it up. And then, it's just like, man. Whereas I pre-recorded some content before I went away. And I was like, batching's really nice. Batch recording is really nice. I like that. Yeah. Set up and just run. But every day is a lot.
There's a couple of other comments here. Wendy was supposed to be in Florida. Can't wait to travel again. And Maria wants your holiday. And Cheryl says, I live in the Mountain, but only came to Oz from UK. So every day is a holiday in comparison. Yeah, daily is a lot. So I've been doing these Facebook Lives as well. And so for those of you who aren't members of the Her Business Network, inside the Her Business Network, every month we have a focus on a key area of business. And this month it's sales and marketing. So one of the challenges I issued was to either pick a camp, either 30 days of Facebook Lives or 30 days of marketing focus. Do your website, do email marketing, start a Facebook group, whatever you want to do. Do your marketing campaign, whatever. And so members are doing one or the other. Most members are doing one or the other. So what's happened, the result is, firstly, a whole lot of accountability. There's women creating content that the world needs to hear. I, of course, I'm doing it every single day as well because I committed to it. And I found that mine ranged from about 8 minutes. I think the longest has been over 20 minutes. And here's what I found. A little bit of preparation goes a long way, and that I had so much content already either in my head that I could get out there. I had content that was available in other formats that I could, put out. And so I found that mine ranged from about 8 minutes. I think the longest has been over 20 minutes. And here's what I found. A little bit of preparation goes a long way, and that I had so much content already either in my head that I could get out there. I had content that was available in other formats into Facebook Lives, and I still have tons. I mean, I've been in business since 1994, so I have obviously a lot of experience to share. But the trick has been actually curating and choosing the content that's going to be most relevant to my ideal client, and I'm mixing it up between business and personal development, which is kind of my gig anyway. I like to talk about both of those. And I've been watching the stats, and each day there's hundreds of views on the videos, but there's one video, Kat, which has got 1.1 thousand views. It's 10 days old. And it was a Sunday afternoon. I mean, semi-dark, sitting over there on the dining table because I'd let it go a little late and I didn't have enough power in the light. So actually the light's a little bit like it is here. And it was a live about how to plan your whole week in 1 hour. So I'm not sure if it was the topic, if it was the time of day. It was a Sunday afternoon. People are already on Facebook. But all that's really interesting to uncover. So if you're one of our members, you've been doing your lives, I'd love to know what you've discovered. So for me, it's interesting. Like every day I feel like I'm honing my message, and I had planned out my topics for the 30 days because I wanted to be organized. But then I get on the day and I've had a really interesting conversation with someone. And so I'll talk about that. Or I had a funny experience at the gym. And so I'll talk about that. And I'm just sort of going with the groove. I'll be really interested to break it down. But like you, it's that consistency, that accountability. I really think it's going to reap some really rich rewards. I don't know exactly what they are right now, but it's certainly not as scary as it was. Like, do you remember how everyone was like, ah?
We were. And I think for me, it's remembering the point of the exercise. It's not necessarily to get views or to get engagement. It's to test what works. And for me, it's been testing lighting and testing what I can riff off without preparation versus with, and how much better I feel or don't. It's learning how Facebook, sharing, like I do the live from my page and then share it into my group and then share it personally. But I'm beginning to think that I actually should just be doing it in the group because I think that'll get more engagement. So it's
interesting. Well, that's a really good point, right? Because if it's for your group, then in the group. But if you want to retarget them with ads, then it's got to be on the page. So it's all strategy. It's all strategy.
Strategy.
Yes. So Grace is saying, I chose the marketing campaign. I'm still too overwhelmed to try the Facebook Live. Well done. Well done, Grace. A month focus on marketing is worth celebrating. Neither challenge is better, is better than the other. Felicity says, I've been achieving the daily. However, I realize I take too long developing the content for the posts. It's taking hours to schedule just a few posts. Now I'm working on that. Okay. There is a structure that we gave you, Felicity. Hopefully that'll help. That certainly cut down the time for me. And Maria says, I'm going to go back and find that one. Oh, that video. And Wendy's saying, in the rhythm of the lives now. Didn't think I would enjoy them, but quite liking it now. That's great. Finding the personal ones are resonating more. Yeah, that's really, really interesting. And often we can find business lessons in our personal ones as well.
All the time.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually did a Facebook Live, and in going deeper into the content just for the 10 minutes or so, I thought, you know what, I think this would be a really good podcast. And so today I did a podcast based on Facebook Live, and I just went deeper on that. So I think that the thing with content is, one, we probably already have so much that we can use, but two, we never want it trapped in one place if it's good content. So you don't want it just trapped in Facebook Live in a video. Can you transcribe it and make it a blog post? Can you cut it down and make it social posts? Can you create it as a podcast, as a webinar, or as something else? So that's a little bit more practical advice.
I love it.
Now, Kat, we have an audience question. Like, someone actually sent in a question. And I think it would be really great for everyone watching, because it's one of the questions that we get quite a bit. Now, this is a question for Heather. And Heather, if you are here, let us know. And Heather says she first got connected with me through Hayley Hobson. Hayley is very big in the doTERRA world, doTERRA essential oils. And she's got a huge personal profile. We're part of a mastermind together. And she says, I want very much to build my online business, and I'm in the midst of creating my ideal client avatar. One of my biggest challenges has been the fear of alienating other clients if I get too specific with my avatar. Kat, what do you say?
I feel your pain. I know, like that's, and I mean, I've been creating client avatars now for 20 years, and I'm still finding that even in this latest iteration with impactful presenters, I find myself resisting when I'm about to use a word that I know is going to exclude people who are following my lives. But the very reason you create a client avatar is to identify who you are talking to, to perhaps exclude the people who are sitting on the outsides, and have the other people who aren't necessarily right down the middle, they aspire to it. So you might not want to alienate them, but you actually do want to eliminate them. That's the reason for creating the avatar. It's to say, you are who I work with, but you're not. And that's it.
Yeah. And we think we're leaving money on the table, but it's actually the other way around. When we're too broad, people don't know if we are the right person for them.
Yeah.
And I remember with her business, we used to be, if you're a businesswoman, we're for you. Whether you're corporate, in government, not-for-profit, starting a business, thinking about a business. And when we got really, really clear that who we work with are women who are in business and they've reached a point where they're stuck as far as their growth, and they really want to go from being a solopreneur to having a team and systems and plans and growing. When we found that ideal client, everything started to change. It became so much easier to develop our membership and what was included, what courses we did, what programs we did, what images we used, what copy we used, how we identified the problems. So Heather, that is our advice. You want to actually be more specific about your ideal client. And Helen says, what a great question. Yeah. And Cheryl says, the ideal client feels so hard when you're talking about a product. I find I have so many different audiences. Yes. So you want to, again, see if you can dissect it, Cheryl. So one of our members, Deb Bauer, I actually just placed an order with her today. She makes beautiful skincare and soaps and home care products. From natural products and essential oils. And so who are they for? They're for kind of everyone. However, once you get people inside your world, then you can tell them about all the other things. But how Deb leads is she deals with the problem of dry skin. And so if I'm someone with dry skin and I see an ad about dry skin, especially if it's really irritated dry skin, then I'm going to listen. But if I see an ad about you could have dry skin, or you could be young, you could be old, you could be, it's not talking to me. And so you want to get really clear. And one of the things that we do inside the Her Business Network, and the members who are watching know this, is we help you create what we call a connection statement. Now, this is a way to introduce yourself that actually identifies your ideal client, because then when you are out and you're telling people what you do, or people come to your website, or they see your email signature, or they hear you in an interview, they know if they're for you and they're not for you. So Cheryl, you want to get closer, right? And I'm not familiar with your name, so I'm not sure if you're a member yet, but stay close, because this is something we can really help you with. Yeah. And Michelle says, so true, Kat and Susie, it's hard, but it's so important to focus on the ideal client avatar. Great question. Yeah. And Nikki says, they say if you advertise to everyone, you end up with no one. That is absolutely true. And one of my mentors from afar, Seth Godin, the amazing marketer, in his book called This Is Marketing, he says you want to be able to say, like you said, Kat, I made this for you, but not for you. And that is okay, because the person that you made it for knows that you made it for them. Otherwise, like Nikki said, you end up with no one, right? Because you're trying to be too many things to too many people. And I just want to, not just for service businesses, they're definitely for product businesses. And I just gave you that example. Yeah.
And I was just thinking, it's only in fast moving consumer goods, well, like toothpaste is probably the only example that I can think of where I don't stare at the shelves of toothpaste and go, oh, that one's for me. Whereas even shampoo is, oh, that's for me because I've got frizzy, curly hair.
Yeah, like I don't use, I don't buy toothpaste with fluoride. I buy toothpaste that's as natural as possible. So I'm very specific about the packaging and whether it's recyclable. That's my thing. So it does apply. And that's why we gravitate towards certain brands and not others. And the ones that are in the middle, they're kind of in the middle.
Right.
Felicity, the beautiful Felicity, says, the connection statement has been the most vital addition to my business. I used it as recently as today. I love that, Felicity. That is really, really awesome. I'm so excited. It's such a great door opener. And I love that you're using it. And Michelle says, I do with toothpaste because I'm sensitive, right? Because I look sensitive. Yeah, there you go. I don't know. You got to up your toothpaste game, Kat.
Yeah,
There's
totally.
a toothpaste for you.
Well, do you know what I select my toothpaste on? Whether the kids will use it.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I'm sure lots of mums do that. What I wanted to, so Heather had a part 2 to her question. Shall we take it?
Yeah, let's give it a quick go.
Let's give it a quick go. So Heather says, Heather, if you're here, do let me know. She says, another challenge has been that I am technologically challenged. I see such beautiful websites, images, social media posts with graphics and feel completely overwhelmed. I don't have the money to hire someone to do all these things for me, and I know I need to get out there so that I can grow. I'm going to give this question to those watching. What do you think? What do you think Heather should do? She's technologically challenged. She sees beautiful websites, images, things that she wants for her business. She doesn't have the money. She says to hire someone, but what should she do? Any takers? I'm going to be looking out for your answers. In the meantime, Kat, what are your thoughts?
I've recently discovered Canva in doing everything that I've been doing for Impactful Presenters. And I mean, Canva, for those who don't know, it's one of Australia's most successful startup stories. It's awesome. It's do-it-yourself design. As you know, if you can use Word, you can use Canva. And I've got to say, Canva's been really easy to learn and to make beautiful images, to make beautiful posters, even make beautiful website themes. In terms of creating websites, I'm not convinced anymore that you have to have a website in order to do a business or to run a business. But if you do, there's plenty of cheap do-it-yourself models out there that you can use. I'm watching all these comments come through now. You can learn. You can learn how to do it.
All right. Next week's episode might be sponsored by Canva. We'll see. I'll send them all these wonderful comments. So Canva is gold. That's me. YouTube has a truckload of information. Hey, Sonia. Canva is the bomb. Kylie. Hello, gorgeous Kylie Barrow. If you're here and I haven't called you gorgeous, no, please don't take offense. You're all gorgeous. As an ex-graphic designer, Canva does an awesome job. Get someone else to do it. Yes, Canva is awesome. Canva is excellent. Wix is super easy, so that's for your website. And Stella, hello, gorgeous, says, listen to podcasts, ask others that have done it before you and see if you can trade barter services in exchange. You can make a website in just a few hours. Easy. Love Canva. Right. So lots of great ideas. So Maria says, I spent time making content for my ebook. I've been using photos from that to make a post on how to use apps such as Canva and look out for training opportunities in social media. Within the Her Business Network, you can receive this training. And outside the network, there are also networking trainings. Canva is brilliant. And Udemy, I don't know how you say, is it Udemy? It's probably Udemy. Sells courses on how to use it, because I'm thinking it's university, so I'm thinking Udemy, on how to use it effectively, often cheaply. And Michelle says, I use Kajabi that I created my website, holds all my online courses and lots. It has 24/7 support and I've worked through it even though I am tech challenged. A lot of people are tech challenged, Heather. And so there's a couple of things. Yeah, I'm very tech challenged. Canva is awesome, right? And you can create everything from social posts to pamphlets to any sort of thing that you might want to design. And they have great templates. So you don't even have to be particularly gifted, because you can just copy their template, plug in your information, change the colors, etc. I can still make a mess of it, even even though they provide a good template. Wix is a very simple website system. But here is the thing. If you're going to grow your business, at some point you might need to invest some money in something. And if you are really technically challenged, really, then you don't want to be spending your time trying to do your images and your website or whatever. As Stella said, is there someone you can barter with? I know you have a doTERRA business. So is there someone who you could teach how to use essential oils to clean their home, nourish their family, cook better, create skincare, something that you can barter in exchange for some of the services that you need. That is, as business women, sometimes that's what we have to do. But I would say, well, what can you afford? Can you afford a very basic website? What is it that's going to help move the needle on your business? Because here's the thing, Heather, you don't need all the things, right? We all want all the things, but maybe just look at what is the next thing that I need in my business that requires some technology that I don't yet have, and how do I get it? You don't have to do it all. Yeah, and Stella says also Upwork is a great place to start on a small budget, right? Upwork, Fiverr, these are websites, Heather, where you can post a job, and usually very inexpensively, because these people are working often out of their homes in all parts of the world on all different sort of salaries and money expectations. And we've used those services to write copy, to create ebooks, to design websites, all sorts of things. Maria's saying the other thing, you can sell from Instagram and Facebook and then get a website when you have a bit more cash flow, and then get someone to build it for you. Yeah, these are really great suggestions, everyone. Thank you so much. Love a crowdsourced answer. So if Heather isn't here, because if she's here, she's being very, very quiet. She did email me with this question. So I am going to respond to her, and I'm going to share the screenshots of all your answers. So thank you so much. Very, very generous. Anything you want to say, Kat?
No, I think the network's done it. And look, I was just sitting here just going, oh yeah, this is the power of awesome women who lift each other up, right? Like this is what it's about.
Yeah, this is awesome. So the other thing that I did want to share, I'm just keeping an eye on the clock. If you have any questions, please go ahead and post them. In the meantime, one of the things that I wanted to share was, and I know she's here because I saw her name earlier, but I'm not going to call you out. One of our members sent me a beautiful note. She'd listened to a podcast that I released last week, which was called Owning Your Awesomeness. And I just wanted to speak to all of you who are watching. And this episode came about because I was watching a conversation in one of our Facebook groups. So we have different groups for different people who are doing different things with her business. And these women were feeling undervalued, and they really weren't celebrating how awesome they really are. And I could see their potential. I could see how amazing they were. But in watching their words and how they were talking about themselves, it felt like they just were not recognizing what they had achieved. And so I created this podcast episode called Owning Your Own Awesomeness. And it was just about how we don't have to wait till we have it all figured out, till we've got all the right clients, the perfect website, the perfect waist size, whatever it is, right? Launch that online course, hire that person, reach that revenue figure in order to celebrate ourselves. Because each of us, and I'm speaking specifically to us as women business owners, are doing incredible things. You know what magic we create? We take something that doesn't exist and we bring it into the world. Right? We are creating something out of nothing. And every single day you are fighting the good fight. You are creating change and transformation in your clients. You are changing people's lives. And I want you to celebrate yourselves. And so that's what this episode was about. And so I got this beautiful long email from one of the listeners. And she says, I always enjoy your podcast. However, this one was super special to me. Why? Because it really hit home for me, and it made me stop and think about my awesomeness, as I rarely do. My friends always tell me my awesomeness, but I always dismiss it. It's so easy for people to recognize my awesomeness, but I kind of struggle to recognize mine at times and really own it. She said, this podcast seriously touched my heartstrings, and I felt all my emotions rise to the top. This made me stop and take the time to think and write my list, as you asked for so nicely. So in the episode, I said, I want you to make a list of all the things that that are awesome about you. And so she made a list. She said, I'm going to start to own my awesomeness because it's okay. And then she created a list of these 5 things that are awesome about her. And they were really, truly awesome. And so I wanted to share that with you. Beautiful words of wisdom. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. And Liz says, I listened to it and it really did speak to me. Thanks, Suzi. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. And so I just wanted to speak to you because we can be our worst critic. I know I am my worst critic, for sure. No one else has to criticize me because I can do that really, really well myself. And And I also I journal every morning, and I think you might know that about me, Kat. And so one of the reasons I do that is it forces me to just reflect. And some days I'm just, giving myself a really hard time about what I haven't achieved and who I haven't become and the progress I haven't made. But other days I do stop and I go, okay, I have done this. And this is where I was and this is where I am now. So there has been some progress. And for that, I am grateful. And so I think for all of us, we're getting lots of...
Look at all the love.
Look at all the love. Oh, yeah. So all of you, I'm going to get a bit teary. You're awesome. And, what you said the word lift up before. One of our values inside of her business, of course, is to lift each other up. And so... never hesitate to tell another woman how awesome she is because she's got those kids at home while she's trying to build her business, because she's, in that relationship that's really not working, because she is looking amazing today in that blue shirt that she's wearing, like whatever it is, just lifting each other up. And notice if someone's not owning it, right? Because, one of my things is that I know I don't do it, but I can see it when someone else is dismissing a compliment or something. And so I will actually say something about it usually. It's like, hello, can you hear me? Hello. You're awesome. Yeah. Anything you want to say?
Beautiful. I was just going to say that I'm going to have to go and listen to the podcast now. I mean, I totally get, I get the sentiment. But it's funny, I was saying to my partner this morning that, well, actually, it wasn't even my partner. It was my osteo, because she was untangling the steel cables that my neck muscles had become. Oh. And it was because I'd been stressing about doing all this work on impactful presenters. Now, I have been speaking and presenting and facilitating for 25 years, and people tell me I'm one of the best they've ever seen. And I still had this imposter syndrome going, what if I'm not good enough? What if nobody likes it?
Who are you to teach people how to present? Surely.
Who am I to teach people?
I mean, yeah, you only have 25 years experience of doing it publicly and being paid for it, but
yeah, and getting the results of moving hundreds of people at scale. Yeah, who am I? So you're right, Suzi, that taking those moments, or taking the time to remind ourselves that it's not what you got ticked off your to-do list today isn't representative of your value to the world and isn't representative of your awesomeness. Like life happens, and we're all awesome.
We're all awesome. Awesome. So we are running a little early today, but I know that you had a few things that you wanted to say before we...
It's kind of on a similar vein. One of the things that has really look, I've had a lovely period throughout COVID. Working from home has been an absolute godsend for me. I've ended up with a month off because I'm now between roles. So I'm very, very fortunate. One of the things that I've discovered though during that time is, even in that soft time, it's really easy for me to stop filling up my cup. It's really easy to go to bed late, right, or to not eat as well, or to drop some of my rituals like meditation or walking or yoga. And there's small little things that make a massive difference. And just because you can kind of get through a day without them doesn't mean that your life's good. And so I've been very, very conscious this last week and a half actually of just bringing all of those filling up my cup rituals back into my day, even though I'm on soft time, even though I don't have to be at the office or I don't have to be logging on, even though I'm on holidays. Basically I'm on holidays, but the alarm's going off at 5:30 and I'm getting up and going for a walk and I'm meditating and I'm eating well and I'm trying to not drink every night, because it only takes a little deviation and all of a sudden it starts kind of falling apart. And it's a combination of age, it's a combination of life, but just topping up your cup. Just topping up your cup and making sure that you're always adding, not just putting out.
I love it. I love it. And you're right. You know, that routine, when you know what works for you, it can only sometimes be just a couple of days of stuffing it up to just feel like, oh my gosh, I've gone backwards so far. And for me, you know, those things are if I journal, if I do exercise, if I spend some time just talking to PJ rather than us just both being on our, you know, iPads, you know, incessantly, cuddling the dog. Now that I have a dog, that's a new COVID thing.
Beautiful puppy dog.
She's gorgeous.
She's so gorgeous.
Journaling, as I said, listening to a podcast. On Sunday, I went for a run down by the water, and I wasn't going to. Again, it's like I go, oh, I'm tired, I won't go. But I went because I know how I feel after it, and I know that's part of my maintenance. And with the drinking, it's interesting because, you know, I haven't drunk all week so that I could drink tonight for Women, Words and Wine, because I don't want to turn it into Women, Words and Water, because
it's not as much fun, I'm telling you. I really do wish I had a glass of wine here tonight.
No. But you're doing the right thing. It's absolutely the best thing. You know, you've got an early morning, etc. I've got a couple of comments here, and Michelle says, life certainly does happen, Kat. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And Wendy says, I journal every morning too, and I usually do 3 things I did well the day before, 3 things I'm grateful for, and then I do freestyle writing to dump my thoughts.
Nice.
Love it. Yeah, it's nice to have a process when you're doing that. Felicity says, thanks for the reminder, Susie. I too look forward to listening to the podcast of Awesomeness. The imposter syndrome takes over way too often. This is a very special reminder. Thank you. Oh, gosh. Okay, well, we'll let him go. Nige, you can leave. Thanks. Helen said, I'm so glad we are normal, right? Yeah, exactly. Self-care is so important. It really is. And whatever that is for you, right? It's whatever that is for you. Can someone dismiss this dude here? Some people have really no life. Honestly, some guys just joined and is making stupid comments, but we're going to get rid of him. Yeah.
I also, Grace is asking, while you're doing that, do you have a course on journaling, Susie? I don't think there's one in her business.
Are you putting me up to create one? No.
But I'm thinking,
Thank you.
The Artist's Way is the most cited book that I know of. Yes.
So there's a book, Grace, called The Artist's Way. It's a 20-year-old book now, and it's Julia Cameron, and she talks about journaling by way of creating what she calls her morning pages. And it's a wonderful book. Actually, all her books are amazing. And it's a book I read 20-something years ago. I mean, I kept a diary as a little girl, but I've journaled, you know, forever, but on and off. And we have a retreat called the Reach Retreat. And every morning out by the water, everyone gathers with a journal that we provide the participants, and we write, and we focus our writing on something. And when I was in Hawaii for that program last October, I thought, you know what, I'm stopping and starting. What if I just stuck with this? And so I have journaled almost every day since October, and that's my longest run in years. I would stop and start and do it a bit again, or if I was feeling down, I would do it. Whereas now I just do it every single morning, and I have my ritual. I make my cup of coffee, and it's a piccolo with coconut milk, and I take it over there and I sit down, and it's just, okay, and PJ will do his own thing. He'll just, you know, not bother me, or he's like, have you done your journaling? Because it's really important to me. And it's just nonsense most of the time, Kat. It's just, you know, but I have a little process like Wendy, where I will, it's actually a process I got from Gabby Bernstein. And so firstly, I'll do a little bit of a data dump, and then I'll say, how I want to feel today is, who I want to be today is, what I want to give today is, what I want to receive today is, and that sort of, you know, gets me going. And then I'll turn to something else. But sometimes all these different work thoughts will come in. So I'll often have some index cards or a notebook where if it's something worky, I will just write it down over there, you know, and I can come back to it, and that way it can keep me focused. Yes. Wendy says, love Julia Cameron. Yeah, very good. Excellent book of process. Yeah, and she has another book. If you're not a writer and you're like, oh, I'm not really a writer, she has a book called The Right to Write, so the RIGHT to write, and she really debunks the myth that writing is for writers.
Yeah.
And it was so liberating for me, because I have often judged myself like I'm not a writer. And I have friends who are writers, and they're so eloquent, and I always feel like a total Gumby, you know, compared to them. But, you know, I write a lot. I write blog posts. I write podcasts, I write webinars. And her work was really liberating in writing, not from a structure and grammar point of view, but just from freeing yourself to express yourself in writing. Yeah, really, really good.
I'm gonna have to read The Artist's Way. I still haven't done it, so I will.
Well worth it. Laura says, every night I write down one thing I did well that day, one thing I appreciate, one thing I'm proud of, and something that was fun. I'm not sure where I picked this up, but it's now a habit.
Yeah,
what
nice.
a beautiful habit. Yeah, what a beautiful habit. And that time is such, whether it's in the morning or in the evening, it's such an opportunity to come back to yourself and just be present with you. And that is self-care, right? Self-care doesn't have to be a facial or, getting your nails done or your whatever. It is just about being there with you and how you're feeling. Hey, Stella. She says, I'm not a writer, but I write and have started my first book. You just write. Love it. And Felicity says, if people feel overwhelmed about how to start journaling, an easy way to begin is just jot down how you feel, why you feel this way, your number one project, and why this project is important, and do a brain dump on all the jobs flooding into your mind. Keep it on the kitchen bench during the day. That's a great tip.
It is.
Yeah, we can really overthink it. But I did a podcast episode, and what I'll do when we're done here, I'll find it and I'll put the link here about journaling. So that might help some people. And Grace says, thank you, Susie, Kat. Great advice. I've never been able to keep a journal. Agree on self-care. Heaps of thanks. Oh, you're very welcome. And Anastasia says, thanks, lady. It's also fabulous. I do journaling, but mostly on dreams to get me to remember how to. Right. Yes, I can never remember my dreams.
Or the ones that I can remember, I don't want to remember.
Yeah, I don't really want to write down. But good for you. You must have good dreams, Anastasia. All righty. What should we do to wrap up here?
There was one other thing, actually, and it just this lengthy and beautiful conversation about self-care. I've made a conscious effort to re-engage in a proper reading habit by reading fiction, because being the A-type personality I am, I often find myself kind of wanting to invest my time in learning something else. So I'll pick up a non-fiction book and it's just reading fiction that nourishes my soul but also stretches my mind. And I was gifted for Christmas. I was gifted for Christmas a bibliotherapy session. So bibliotherapy is literally understanding your relationship to books, what you like about them, what you like reading about. And then the woman who did the session then gave me a prescription of books to read, recommended books to read. And it's just been magic, because what I discovered was that I don't like dumb, stupid, really simplistic or formulaic books. I do like to be mentally stretched, but I don't like to be overstretched. Like, it needs to be something that I can relax with. And it needs to be something with strong female characters who are going through some kind of transformation or something like that. And so now I've just got this beautiful list of books that I'm just loving. And
is everything fiction that she's prescribed?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So, for me, it's just a reminder that not everything has to be for a not everything has to be for a learning outcome. You can what's the word? You can stretch your mind in other ways.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't read fiction. I used to read it sometimes when I was on vacation, but I don't. Like, if I'm not reading something that is for learning, it'll be a self-development book, which is still kind of learning, but it's a little bit different. And do you do audiobooks or do you do paper books or both?
I do paper books. I haven't. I've moved away from the e-reader. I'm thinking I might do audiobooks now. I'll be commuting in the car.
Commuting, yes. Oh, absolutely. That's one of the things I miss, because my commute is 7 minutes or something. So it's really hard to get through a book. Whereas if you've got 30 minutes, you're going to get a good chunk done.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, that's so interesting. But I will get that referral from you, because I have a friend who reads fiction quite a bit, and that would be like a good gift for someone who's kind of got everything.
It was a beautiful gift.
Is that what it's called? Bibliotherapy.
Bibliotherapy, yeah, like a bibliography, but therapy.
Yeah, but because the word for book in Greek is biblio, which is where biblio comes from. and therapy, right? So it's like book therapy. Nige says his self-care is his private time. Cheryl says, that sounds like a great gift.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, Nige, you're back in the game. You're saying good things. Ken Follett writes some amazing fiction. Oh, okay. A bibliotherapist. What a marvelous sounding job. Doesn't it sound fabulous? Michelle says fiction is great on paper, audio for business books. Oh, I love Kate Morton, a Queensland author for fiction. There you go. Some recommendations. Thank you. And Helen loves her audiobooks. I love my audiobooks too.
Yeah.
Great gift idea. Yeah, that's what I thought.
I'll get the link and I'll get the link. Pop it in below.
Pop it in here. That'd be great. Awesome. I want to thank you all so much for joining us. It's been a great first episode back for Women, Words and Wine. We have another great guest next week. And through this series, we have some returning guests and some new guests. Some sessions, it's me and one gorgeous guest like tonight. And other times we have a panel. Cheryl says, I love that, Michelle. What did Michelle say? Oh, yeah, it's about the
fiction on paper, audio for business.
Yes. I also, if it's an audiobook, I like to have the author read it. Otherwise, I get discombobulated about it, especially if I know the author and it's not their voice. It's really, yeah. Stella says, I agree. Business in the ears, fiction in the eyes. You're funny. What would you like to say as we wrap up today?
Oh, this was just a lovely way to spend an evening. Thank you, everyone who joined us. So it's it was lovely to have a drink with you this evening, with all of you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for being my first guest for season 2.
Thank you for having me.
Love seeing what you're creating. Cannot wait to see the program come together. Sonia says, thanks, ladies. Always learn something here. And Michelle says, thank you, Susie and Kat. So glad I could join tonight. Look forward to next time. I adore Michael. Oh, another all these recommendations. Yeah. Check out the feed. Thank you. Sharon says, I love the word discombobulated. Thank you for a great Women, Words and Wine. Thank you all so much. It's been my pleasure to have you back here next Wednesday night. Hope to see you then. Bye for now. Thanks for joining us.